Hello, I'm going to try this again. My last video turned out to be a little bit of a fiasco as I was trying to show my kitties, and it didn't work out quite as well as I'd liked, but I still used that footage a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you guys about my friend Maria that I knew when I was 14 and older. I met her when I was 14 and she was 16, and she had moved to the United States from England, from London area, Surrey, something to that effect. I know that she did work at a restaurant as a waitress at a place called the Golden Egg that was owned by a man who was from Spain. Gerardo was his name. And I just remember hearing some stories about that because Maria was adopted, and she was obsessed, with the Spanish culture because she had been, or at least she thought that she was from Spain because of how she looked. And so she had become very fluent in Castilian Spanish, or Castellano, as she used to say. She used to quiz me constantly, talk to me in only Spanish, and see if I could answer her. And I didn't do so bad for a girl who was in, what was it then, a Spanish 2 or 3, and I didn't really even pay attention. It was more about, being in Spanish club and potentially going to Mexico and that sort of thing. But anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about Maria, and I'm thinking about her basically because I just subscribed to Twish 1999. I watched her videos before, and I thought I had subscribed a while back. I must not have clicked the button or something, but every once in a while I put in Twish and watch her videos, and they're really fun. And she sparked a few memories, and I thought I would just share them. Maria went to Notre Dame High School, which was the Catholic high school in the area. Of course, she said Notre Dame. And every day I got off my bus on one corner, and she got off her bus, and she would get home quicker if she walked to the cemetery. So I would get off at the corner and walk through the cemetery and meet her halfway. And then we would go to her house, and we would watch a local soap opera called General Hospital. And it was during the big, fiasco. That must be my word for the day. That was going on with Luke and Laura, and who was that girl? Got her start on General Hospital. Big star now, dating a young guy. Oh, I can't think of her name. It'll come to me. Well, during those days. It's going to drive me nuts until I think of her name. But anyway, we would go down, and her mom would say, are you ready for your root beer and peanut butter? Because they would have tea, and I wasn't into tea. Do you know that I didn't even realize that tea didn't come in tea bags until I visited her house? And they had a teapot and a tea ball, and that's the way that they did it, instead of tea bags, which are the most common, well, at least in my family, the way people drink tea. This cat is not supposed to be up here. But apparently she's trying to make her appearance, and she's looking for her treats, which I put away in the drawer. So you made your appearance, and you must stay off of the desk, okay? Because if your daddy was here, you would be in trouble. So, in any case, they would introduce me to different things, and being 14 and curious, but yet kind of not exactly mature, I guess is the right word. Sometimes I would, stick out my tongue, and make comments about their food. They'd be having, crackers with pate, and I'd be having an English muffin with peanut butter. And they always had my root beer. And we'd sit and we'd watch General Hospital. And it was so funny when Maria went back to England. she would write me these long letters, about her life, and I would write her back, telling her all about what was going on General Hospital. Talk about mindsets. Kind of interesting. But we had a lot of fun together. My dad took us one time to a Oktoberfest celebration, and that was pretty fun. And they always used to, her family, most teenagers know all the words to all the songs on the radio. At least my generation did, and I would assume the generation does now. I don't have any kids of my own, and my niece and nephew don't really talk too much about the music that they listen to when I'm with them. But they used to joke with me about how I knew every single song on the radio, and I did. Every song, we'd be riding in the car and the song would come on and I would know everything. And they used to tease me about that they thought was pretty funny. I made my first pumpkin pie with Maria because she didn't really know too much about pumpkin pie. She'd heard of it, and I was not much of a baker. My mom didn't bake, but I got myself a recipe and decided one day we were going to make it, but we didn't realize that more of an ingredient wasn't necessarily better, and we put a lot of cloves in the pie, and the pie looked beautiful, but it looked like chocolate pie, and it was inedible, but it sure was pretty. When I first met Maria, her mother had made Scotch eggs, which I don't know if they're necessarily a British cuisine or not, for picnics or whatever, but I'd never seen them before. And that's something that I remember, the hard-boiled eggs with some sort of sausage around them. I just had a lot of good memories about Maria, and I was wanting to share some, and I was hoping that someday I'd be able to contact her again. I've looked different ways. Haven't heard from her since about 1985, I think it was. I got 85 on my birthday. I was surprised to get a letter from her in England, in Wisconsin when I was living up there with my parents. I don't even remember all the logistics of the whole thing, but I know that I did get a letter from her, and maybe we corresponded once or twice from then, but haven't heard from her since, and her parents are, I think, in Florida. Haven't been able to find them. But if anybody knows Maria Wrongsley, I would assume she's married now, but that was her maiden name. Her father's name is Derek, her mother's name is Maureen, or Maureen, as they would say in England, and she has a brother Stephen and a brother Andrew. But that was my good friend, and hopefully one day I'll have an opportunity to have some fellowship with her again. So thanks, Twish, for the good memories, and until next time, ciao.